Hey everyone, I just finished taking photos with a professional DSLR, the Canon 6D, and also took photos with my iPhone 12 mini. Sometimes the DSLR took better photos, but other times it looked like my iPhone was actually taking better photos. What's going on here? Hey everyone, welcome to the Wondershare YouTube channel, where you can find unlimited inspiration to build your creative future. Every year, smartphone cameras are getting more and more advanced to the point now where, honestly, if you're posting on the web, they can kind of compete with DSLRs. So, does that mean that phones might be getting better at taking photos than DSLRs? Today we're going to explore this question by looking at what the main differences are, and by taking some photos in the real world. DSLRs have a few hardware advantages over mobile phones. Mainly that they have manual controls, and they also have the ability to switch lenses. DSLRs are just much more versatile for most situations, which is why most professional photographers still use them. Another advantage is the size of the sensor. DSLR sensors are much larger than what you would find inside mobile phones. This gives DSLRs two big advantages. One is that it can capture more light. So right here, right now, we are doing a low light test. So we're testing the DSLR with its larger sensor and larger lens, and we're testing out the iPhone, which has night mode, which is really nice. That's actually surprisingly not bad. I was completely ready to say that the DSLR took better low light photos, but after looking at the results, I've got to say it's much closer to a tie here. I'd actually say that my iPhone got a much sharper shot here. However, I will say that the iPhone smeared a lot of parts of the image that the DSLR preserved. If you were to use a newer Sony DSLR, say an a7S III, you'd probably get much better low light performance here. So it's kind of up in the air which one is better, but I will say that smartphones have been getting way better really recently at low light photography. It's really impressive. The other advantage to the larger sensor is that it produces a shallower depth of field, meaning that when you're taking portraits, you can get way more background blur or bokeh. Combined with the right lenses, this can give you a really striking look that you can't get on smartphones naturally. So for the bokeh test, we shot outdoors and used the flowers behind me as the objects to blur in the background. Right off the bat, the DSLR gave me really good looking bokeh. The iPhone, on the other hand, had virtually none. However, using a feature called portrait mode, I was able to blur out the background in my iPhone shot, and it looked pretty great. I still think the DSLR looked a little bit better and a little more realistic, so I'm going to give this round to the DSLR. So as you can see, some smartphones can actually emulate background blur, and they're getting better all the time. While this feature doesn't work perfectly every time, the ability to adjust the background blur after the effect is indicative of an advantage that phones have over DSLRs: computational photography. Computational photography is a relatively new concept. While DSLRs are really good at capturing what a photo looks like naturally, they often require a lot of editing to match what you actually see with your eyes. Smartphones, on the other hand, can analyze what's happening in frame, take multiple exposures when you hit the shutter button, and stitch it together into an image that either looks more flattering or more accurate to what you actually see with your eyes. Basically, the smartphone's brain is processing the image to make it look more accurate and pleasing. One place where computational photography really shines is when you're taking photos in high contrast situations. So, for our next test, we're going to do the DSLR versus iPhone out here in a really high contrast situation. We've got the sun and the sky that's going to just be blowing out the background, and then I'm going to be silhouetted in the foreground, probably really dark, so we're going to see how both of these devices handle that. As I expected, the iPhone did a much better job balancing out my skin tones, allowing you to see the blue in the sky much better than you could see in the DSLR shot. I think this round goes to the iPhone. So, do these advantages mean that smartphones are better than DSLRs? I don't think so. Smartphones can shoot amazing photos these days, but often the really great results that you can get on a smartphone automatically can also be done with a DSLR photo if you bring it into a photo editing app and touch it up a little bit. If having a DSLR inspires you to go out there and take photos and work on your craft, all power to you. Or if you're more like me and you're fine just taking photos on your smartphone, that's totally valid as well. Get out there and work on your creativity, but I definitely recommend you try both out. So, what kind of device do you like to take photos on? Let us know in the comments down below. If you're looking for inspiring photography ideas, I definitely recommend you check out our recent parallax effect video, which you can find a link to in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.